single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way.
Okay, so I'm still alive, guys. It's been ages since I've posted. I would say nearly about a year and a half. Um, but I've had a year and a half of good fortune with vehicles like that, so I haven't needed to post anything until now. The Suzuki GSXR 1997 SRAD has starting problems. Um, it's coming up with no codes. If you look on my other video, I show you how to bring up factory settings on your rev limiter. And at the minute it's showing COO, which is no codes. It did slightly flash up with C12, which is crank position sensor. I've had a look at the wiring. Sometimes it's just the simple stuff like corrosion on connectors, etc., etc. So you've got to start simple. Don't start going on eBay and splashing the cash straight away. Process of elimination is key. At the minute, like I said, it's showing no codes, so we're going to start to look at things without sensors, because sensors are the ones that bring codes up, if that makes sense. So what I've already done, um, unfortunately, but I had to do it. I had to do the investigation of what is actually causing the problem. Is I've took off the cover for your starter motor, your flywheel, and your crank end to the flywheel. Took it all off and relieved the tension from the starter motor to see what was happening at the starter motor. Um, this is what's come off the Gixxer. It's your box standard starter motor. There's nothing incredible about it. What was happening was when I took it all off, so I had access to this spine here. Is I would um, try starting it, and it would spin as it should, and then it would at a specific position it wouldn't turn. It would prime the fuel, and then it would just click. The relay at the back of the motorbike will click, which you will probably hear if you have this problem. But this wouldn't turn. Then you would turn it ever so slightly, and then to give it another go, and it would spin. So my theory, without no codes as well, like I said, COO, this thing has no sensors, so it's not going to give off any codes. So what I'm going to do is we're going to fit the new one, which is this bad boy. So old, new. Let's really not get that mixed up. That'll be an absolute swine. So this one is going to be thrown to the left, and we'll forget about that one. This one here is not brand new, but it's been refurbished and looked after, so they say. Um, let's fit it. Let's go to the GoPro. And it's not actually too bad at all. It's just 2 bolts. Slide it in. I'm not going to take the cover back off. I wish I did record that, I will admit, but at the time I was investigating because I didn't know the cause. Now I'm pretty sure I know the cause. So let's just fit this. It's going to be not a bad job at all. It's going to be a bitch to record because it's under the tank. I'm tempted to take the tank right off, but I don't know. I'm feeling a bit lazy. Okay, confession. So let's fit it. There's the two bolts there. It's literally just sitting right on top of your engine bulk. Like literally, it's just sitting on top. It's as simple as that. It's like complicated Lego basically. This lead here, I might use, I might not. At the minute, as you can see from the old one, I've disconnected it. So the old lead is on the bike still. So if I'm feeling lazy, which I am, I might just connect the old lead up here and then test and see what the bike behaves like. If the bike behaves the same, then I'll be swapping out the lead as well. Yeah, because there might be a shortage, I don't know. There's several reasons still, but yeah, that'll be another thing. If it behaves the same, then we'll swap the lead out. If it behaves the same after that, this thing will be going back and PayPal will be contacted. That's for sure. So I hope you understand. Let's go to the bike because you'll understand even more. GoPro on the forehead, looking like Cyclops. Ciao for now. Starter motor. Obviously it goes inside this frame. And this cog drives, if you imagine this is on here, drives against the mini flywheel, we'll call it. I don't know what that actually the actual technical term for this one is, but yeah, that drives against there. Don't know if you can see that, and then it will spin this, which then in turn spins that cog, which then in turn spins against the flywheel and the crank, which then starts the bike. Now obviously I had a big problem, like I said on my intro, of the starter motor not spinning 100% of the time. Hopefully this will. So, as I said, I didn't think I'd take the cover off, but just for the video, we will. Right, so inside. Right. In there. There. Perfect. Right there. So, if we... The starter motor is going to sit. This is hard. Right. In there. There. Perfect. Right there. So, if we come the other side again, you'll see. Right there. That bit. And then that will go against, we'll call the mini flywheel. That might actually be the flywheel, but there is another one that's bigger here, and I'm calling that the flywheel. Either one, they've all got to engage either way. So let's bolt this bad boy up. Let's get the cable. Yeah, that's the original one. I'm going to put that one on the top. This is very difficult because of the tank. On the top of there, don't know if you can see that. Right there, bolt that. That gives it the energy from the relay and battery to start turning when I turn the ignition and press the starter switch. So let's bolt it. I've got the bolts inside, so let's cut the video. I'll get the bolts, and I think they're 10mm if I remember rightly. The bolt is there and there. I'm going to put the bolts in. They go right into the engine, which is typical of Suzuki. No messing. They just their engineering is just, they don't take no shit basically. Let's bolt that, connect that, and let's see how it goes basically. Right, so this is the bolt. 10mm was a good guess. It's pretty much, yeah, it's on it. Right, so the bolts, like I said, go in. Again, I don't know what I'm capturing. This is on my forehead, the camera, so goes into there. It's really simple, to be honest, guys. The hardest bit is knowing the cause of what's happening. The actual fitting of it is easy. and the other one goes the other side. This is, apologies again if you can't see much. I am really trying. Okay, let's get a ratchet on there so you'll probably be able to see a bit more. That's undoing. Right. There we go. So my hand's hopefully out of the way now. There we go. And we're doing that up. Don't ask me what the Newton meters is. Literally don't care. As long as the starter motor stays where it should do. Obviously don't leave it too loose because there is quite a kick inside a starter motor. In a car and a bike. I'm really hoping you can see what I'm doing. Because even I can't. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do them up, then I'm going to put the camera inside. That's the best way. That's done it now. Right, so the top one is on. Now I'm going to undo it just for video purposes again. One sec. Done it again. Don't know if you can see what I'm doing. But that is your supply from the battery to the from the relay to the starter motor. So it's obviously very important. And I'm going to ream this up a bit, I must admit, because the more you ream it up, and don't swing at it obviously, but the more you ream it up, the more of a contact you've got electricity wise. It's another 10mm, so credit to Suzuki for making it a little bit easier for everyone. It's all 10mm on this job. There we go, that's quite reamed up. And then the cover goes over. Oh God, man. Right, so let's get the camera in there, take it off my forehead. Right, there we go. Again, 2 bolts there and there, there and there, and then the supply, the energy supply from the battery and relay there, and then the cover over the top because you don't want any rust or moisture going to that point, because obviously there's a 12 volt electricity supply to it. And that's it. That's it fitted. Now we'll go over to the other side and fit the cover, which I showed you at the beginning, and then we'll try it out. Granted, I know that this gasket is looking semi-bad, I know that. I'm going to test this, well, when I'm testing it, I'm going to test to see if I'm going to have any leaks. Any leaks on it when I'm using it. If I do, then obviously a new gasket is needed here and here. So yeah, so let's fit it. As I said, that bit needs to go onto the new starter motor. It's pretty simple stuff, really. Just whatever you do, just take your time. Sometimes the starter motor will need turning to fit into here. Just play around with it until it feels like it's not fighting against you. Right, let's get a little rubber mallet, and when I mean by mallet, don't whack against it like you're Hulk. You want to just be tapping it evenly around here. You want it going on square, okay? Whack it along here. Whack being the wrong word. Right. At the minute it's not really going on, okay? So what I'm going to do is just literally place everything in this different spot. Again, you don't want to whack hard, because what you're going to be doing is hitting against these teeth and this one. So one of them is going to give if you whack it. One of them is going to give, and your teeth are going to be either buckled or split or cracked or whatever you want to call it. So just take your time. Oh, there we go. Take your time. Oh, there we go. Well, there we go. My patience paid off. You see how different that was? If I whacked it straight off, had no patience, I would have cracked a tooth or chipped it or whatever and caused damage. So you would have been going backwards on that. Right, as you can see with this screw here as well, I've got loads of stones and stuff in the threads. So I'm going to clean that off before that goes into there, because it'll have the same effect as cross threading. You're just going to muck up all the threads going into the cylinder, not the cylinder head, the cylinder bulk. You just don't want to be doing it, because you'll be having more problems than a starter motor, that's for sure. So I'm going to get a cloth, we're going to clean that up. Oh, hang on, one sec. Oh, I've got one here. There we go. Just simple, just clean it up. Use your brain. You can't be putting that in there like that. Okay. Now again, I don't know the Newton meters of these. I'm just going to do them over hand tight. I'm a bit of a culprit of doing literally everything over hand tight, because that is a bit of laziness from me. You're more than welcome to look up the Newton meters on these. My advice is to do so, but this is my bike and I don't give a brass monkeys. This is just a guess, but these are going to be around 14 Newton meters, I would say, 14, 15 Newton meters each. And you want to do them up opposites. That's my advice, but this is, again, like I said, my bike, so I'm just being not fussy about it. Right, okay. Right. That's all connected up, the wiring is connected up, so this should, in theory, I laugh because, yeah, this should start. Right. Killer switch off, because that's gonna obviously not start. Here we go. Priming fuel. We'll wait for this car to go by. Anybody thought I live in London? The reason why I'm waiting for the traffic to calm down is because I want to hear what's going on as well. This winds me up living here. I hate it. Right, cool. Right, I do have an F1 code coming up right now. I don't know if you can see that, there's F1. Now, that's not new. One sec, I'm going to talk to you when the engine's not running. Okay, so it started, but with an F1 code come up here. Now the F1 code is either to do with no airbox on here, or I've still got problems with the crank position sensor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the battery, leave it disconnected. I'm going to also disconnect the ECU and try to reset the system altogether. That's the plan. So let's do that. Right, so as you've seen there, everything's back together. I haven't connected the tank yet, but airbox is back in. All the sensors are connected, so we're getting rid of fault codes, hopefully, fingers crossed. What I mean by fault codes is here I've connected the factory bypass for factory code reading. So basically any codes that do turn up, they're going to show up here, which I have a separate video on the channel, so have a look at that. We're not going to go into detail with that. This is about the starter motor. So what I've done is I've disconnected the battery for I don't know, about 30 minutes. The ECU was inside for the same amount, 30 minutes. So hopefully I've reset everything. And here's the moment of truth. I am kind of expecting some fault codes, if I'm totally honest. But right now, as you can see, probably, hopefully, that's COO. In other words, no faults. Right, we'll see if it starts. And it does. Fantastic. Running smooth. COO still. Still COO. Still COO. That's good. So now, if I take the leads out of the factory thing, just take that out, now we should have some 3 dashes, as you can see. Hopefully you can see it. 1 second. Now, the temperature will show up in a minute. When that happens, I'm happy. There it is. 20 degrees centigrade. 21. 22. 23. Yeah, all's working great. That's a really happy result. The only thing I'm going to do now is on this side here, all what's left is to check for any leaks of oil coming from where I've tampered, because, confession, I have not put a new gasket. There's 2 gaskets here. I've just used the old ones. One, because it's nothing really to do with the sump. There isn't major oil pressure up here, so I might get away with it. If I don't, it's no problem. I'll just take it off, replace the gasket. But yeah, job's a good one. That starter motor is working absolutely fine. Twice now. Just for the sake of the video, I'll start it again. But yeah, as soon as you hit the button to start it, the cog on the starter motor pushes the bigger, we'll call it the mini flywheel again if you want, I don't know the technical term for it. That pushes that. The smaller cog then connects to the bigger cogs down here, where it turns the crank, and then the signal on the ECU signalizes to the spark plugs to fire in sequence, and then off it goes on idle, blah 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 blah. That's basically such a simple, basic rundown on how this engine is starting. But if that starter motor goes or is playing up, like this was, you're going to have big problems. So on the outro, I will describe to you the symptoms where it all started. So yeah, I'm going to put all this back together, and we're going to go inside and talk over the symptoms of a bad starter motor on your Gixxer. Ciao. Oh yeah, hang on 1 second. I did say I'd start it one more time, didn't I? Okay. Just for the one more time. There we go. Gixxer is back on the road. Okay, so relatively simple job to actually do, but pretty hard to diagnose. I think that's pretty wraps it up. Once you know it's the starter motor, it's not a hard job, unlike a car. Some cars, if not most cars, if you want to replace the starter motor, is certainly a bigger job than just two or three bolts and complicated Lego, basically. So I said I would go through how I come about suspecting either crank position sensor or starter motor. It all started with me trying to start it at work. You would hear the click from the relay near the rear passenger seat. Every time you hit the starter button, it would click, a loud click, which indicates that the relay is making contact. So what I mean by that is not in scale. You've got like contacts at the top here in your relay, and then when it's clicking, all you're hearing is tick, tick. Every time you press the starter, it's making contact, which completes the circuit to send a signal to this bad boy. So the relay, in my views, was working because that clicking, or the click was certainly loud. So I'm suspecting that that is freely moving and freely working, which, as you can see on the video, it is, because I haven't replaced the relay or the solenoid. I keep saying it's actually a starter solenoid, not a relay. Anyway, whatever, you know what I mean. It's clicking. So what was happening was that was happening. So what I did at work was I put it into gear with it not started, because obviously it wasn't starting. I put it into gear and I pushed it ever so slightly on its wheels. I pushed it back and forth to either rock the crank or cams or the starter motor. I think. Hang on. Either way, I was turning the engine of some sort, or even the gearing. Okay, so I'm moving something. Okay, that was the first test to figure out what was going on here. Why was it not starting? The reason why I was thinking that something wasn't adding up, it was either two things. The starter motor wasn't lining up with the mini flywheel, that first cog that I showed you on the video. It was clicking, but this thing was not turning. It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain on the video, just out of the blue like this. So basically, what we did was we took off the cover, and what I did was started the bike with all of those small cogs that I showed you in the video. They were all off the bike. Literally, just this starter motor was sticking outside of the bike. So then I started it like normal, and this thing would turn, would spin. So it was kind of working, okay? But then, after 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6 times, this starter motor would stop at a point where it didn't like. Then, again, I would go to start the bike, and then that solenoid would click, 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 but nothing happening. This thing wasn't turning. Obviously, I wouldn't know that because the cover was on at the time this was happening. This first was happening. But now I've got the cover off and I'm physically looking at these spines and they're not spinning. So there was obviously either the signal from the solenoid was not getting to the starter motor, or the starter motor was not making this spin at a specific point. Still, the diagnostics is the starter motor because now I've replaced it and it's starting every time. Fingers crossed that will continue. I mean, we all know what vehicles are like. But yeah, I think I've explained everything there. I mean, I'm human. I might miss something out. Also, I'm also human by getting mixed up with solenoids and resistors and stuff. It's actually a starter solenoid that's clicking. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Anyway, so not to diss any garages, but to diagnose the problem would have cost a few hundred, I would say, maybe. It's a guess. Certainly on a sports bike. Then, for the work to be carried out and buying a starter motor, which they might even replace new, could possibly be reaching, I'm guessing, 600, 400, all in, something like that. I don't know, something like that. This has cost me 2 days and 45 quid. I don't need to say any more. I know which one I would prefer. I'm never going to get the 2 days back, but then again, I would get a lot of hassle from making an appointment and everything with the garages anyway. So yeah, I hope this has been helpful. The bike is starting it every time. I've tested it again. All I need to do now is test it for the fan to cut in at 100 degrees. No, actually it's 105 degrees. The fan will cut in on a S-Rad. And that's it. Starter motor replaced. So I hope it's been helpful, guys. Thanks for watching, and sorry I haven't posted in such a long time. But I just haven't really had any problems or motivation to do anything to anything, really. But now I've hit a problem, so I thought I'd help and show what I've done. Ciao. See you later.